call the order. She walked out. I don't believe anybody for public comment.
No, sir.
If y'all would look over the minutes from the last facility meeting and make a motion, go from there.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from the July 13th facility.
Second.
You want to second it?
Second. All in favor? That's right. Thank you. Okay, we have Ms. Crosby with a surplus property.
Good afternoon. Everyone's doing well. What we have before you is a memo. This is another piece of property that we're trying to move forward, declare surplus so that we can start the process to get it in marketable order. In your packet, there's obviously the memo. One of the things that's unique about this property is one of our old well sites. There's some issues with the casing, and it's no longer operational for what we need. So one of the things that will have to be done to this property to make it marketable, it's in a residential area, and we're planning to market it as a residential lot, is do an abandonment on the well. So there's a couple of quotes in there, so it's going to cost us some money to do that. We also still need to get an appraisal for the property, and then there's a few structures when you get back into the final pages of it, some pictures of what is actually on the property that'll have to be removed. And I think we're going to try and do most of that in-house with our staff, and then it'll just be the disposal fees of the construction materials.
Is this the one that has the electrical panel in it that belongs to?
Yes,
And
yes,
the
and
stats of
that's,
that?
I hadn't gotten to that, so there's quite a few things on the checklist that we have to do. So Colonel Boland and some other members of the staff has met Georgia Power on site out there. There's I don't know if it's a transformer or there's something there that's there, so will probably have to be relocated as well.
There's two big electrical boxes. One of them was for the well. The other one is Georgia Power, but it's to provide electricity to the people and the homeowners down the road. And we met with them and asked them to see if they could find any document, deed, easement, why their electrical equipment was on our property. And they haven't produced that. But they did send some people out to see what they got to do to move their equipment off our property. We've had several people who have already shown interest in the property.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we could enter like the electrical distribution business.
Surcharge.
We're a substation, right? SI North Power Subbase.
We have an electrical engineer.
Yeah, but that's weird, but I mean, with a power company that it's on, I mean, normally, unless there is an easement that is given a right to it, it's gotta be on, right away, but you're telling me it's way up on the property?
It's in our property.
It's in the property. And they seemed, am I wrong, not surprised by that, but they seemed to realize they probably needed to do something about that. Like they needed to take some action without us really requesting it.
They've already gone out and marked the lines where
Right.
their power is on our side, and they're looking to move it out of our property.
We just need to make sure that Georgia Power pays for all that.
Yeah, that part we wouldn't.
Right.
That's why I want them to do
The
something.
easement, yeah, with that.
Is the actual size of the parcel, is it on this one page where it's highlighted yellow, is that the size, or is it the size that's shown on the topo map?
So it's on the one that's this picture where it says 0.116 acre. It's a very small corner lot, and that's from the Glynn County property records. And so it's literally like the property there on the corner as you turn in. So we think it would be, a nice residential lot, but you gotta get the structure off there. You gotta make sure the well's taken care of. And once this electrical thing's done too, then we'll actually have it appraised and know. Normally when we come to you, we at least have an idea what we think we could get for a surplus. Here, we don't know. Like Colonel Boland said, I know I've had 2 people, and I think he's had another 1 or 2 already contacted with interest in the property. So The plan is we'll do it the same as we did the Nottingham property, sealed bid, open to everyone, and we'll see what number we get back with for your review.
There was a small well, but we already constructed a bigger one not too far away. We contacted the golf course, which is right behind it, to see if they would like to get it for irrigation, and they weren't interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Yes, sir.
homeowners association about irrigation, but they've already got, Woodrow Sapp provides all that irrigation out there.
And he didn't need it either, we talked to him as well, so.
They weren't interested in buying it as a well. The casing is probably collapsed, I think it's collapsed. And it was pumping sand, and that's one of the reasons that we put in a new one.
Now, when we abandon it, does that mean take the casing out, or we just fill it with concrete?
It's
or-
grouted, I believe.
So we're not gonna accept any liability in case somebody comes out and wants to build a house on it, and then
It'll be advertised.
Okay.
We've already pulled a couple of the valves out that they thought they could reuse, but a lot of them in bad shape. And the old pump is also, would have to be reworked.
So we're just leaving it in place?
Sir,
Are you saying we're leaving it in place?
We're gonna demolition all of our assets.
everything on
Demo everything.
above ground would be
Well-
gone.
And then you grout the well itself.
Okay.
It has a 5,000 gallon tank, but the water guys said it's rusted on the inside, and it would take a lot of money to do anything with it.
And I think they haven't used this property for probably right about 2 years, because I can remember this was one of the 15 projects that finished up the new well site that replaced it, so it's been out of service 2 years,
At least.
at least, maybe even before then.
Okay. I have a question, John. Are we separately accounting for this money
Is
in
any,
a reserve or something?
no, it's not going into a separate reserve. It's being accounted for separately as scrap and scrap sales and surplus. It goes into a revenue account.
Well, but aren't we planning on using this to help do the, at Academy Creek?
We are, and maybe to that end, I know we've got 800 left on the building. Is there any way to consolidate, as Chairman Elliott saying, the scrap that we get from these land parcels with that 800 into like an escrow account until we
Sure.
figure out what we could?
Yeah, we could, we can segregate the money in an accounting sense and, or possibly set up a separate bank account for that. As far as the $800,000, we would have to submit receipts to the trustee for a project to draw that down, but we could certainly submit receipts from any one of the projects that have been completed, draw that money down, and then begin to fund the separate reserve with that, and then transfer whatever we've collected in scrap and surplus sales for the past periods and move that money over as well.
Okay.
And so with that, I kind of had another question. We're going to have some expense here to abandon the well and do appraisals and all that. Would we charge those to that?
We would have to net the expenses
Okay.
against the revenues from the sale.
Thought so, I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that. We're going to have to spend something to be able to sell this one. So what we're asking for today is if you would recommend to forward this on to full commission next week for surplus approval.
I make a motion, we forward this to the full commission.
Second. All in favor?
Thank you very much. I think I'm next. too.
You're next again?
Yes. So while we're on the topic of surplus, if you'll turn a little bit further in your packet, it's just a brief memo. We're getting at the point where we're starting to close out the fiscal year. And so what I wanted to do is just give you a quick recap on surplus sales of what we did. And so these are the things that we did through Gov's Deals last year. There was a report, it should be about 3 pages behind there. And I wanted to give y'all a tally of what that was. So through Gov Deals, for the fiscal 2016-17 year, we did $194,150. So this is, you know, things that have brought through here, everything from some used office equipment, shelving, that sort of thing that was out at the Golden Isles 2 facility, to a lot of vehicles and camera equipment, that sort of thing.
Okay. Has that cleaned out all those various cubby holes full of excess furniture now? And vehicles?
I think the majority of it, yes, would be gone. Yes. Now, we still have some more vehicles that we have to sell, because we just had some that were recently declared, and that's actually been in this fiscal year, so those wouldn't be part of this report. We haven't sold those yet. So we probably got, I think it's 4.
But in that one, in
But
that.
you're talking about at Golden Isles 2, that location that was kind of the
Yeah, that
storage
you couldn't
area?
get in because it was just.
No, I think they cleaned that up last year, yeah. That,
Most of that's out.
Mhm.
And that wouldn't include the one we just sold for 54,000.
Yeah.
The-
So
On the
This
lot,
does
yeah,
not
that-
include that?
No, because this was what closed out last fiscal year.
So this is money over and above what the rate structure provides us. So what are you gonna do with this money?
The estimates I had on the upgrades that we did for we estimated for the DAF building down there were, I had somewhere between 1.2 and 2 million. We got 800,000, we may be on the low end of what we want to get done, but anything I can scrape up in this fashion, I'm gonna put towards finishing those needs.
Okay, well, I don't wanna get folded into just a regular operating
You
revenue.
know, we'll
Can't this go into, like, if you're getting this kind of money, that's actually pretty darn good, 89,000 for one of the old Batcon trucks, right? Can't you just set up an account for future vehicles just based upon this?
Well,
Good.
if we set up a separate reserve to account for those funds, then, I suppose any funds that are in that could be allocated for replacement vehicles or for work on the back cave or dedicated to some other project. Or equipment
So
replacement.
are you saying like a surplus reserve, and then we can use it at our discretion?
Like the R&R reserve projects get named to be funded by that reserve, and replacement of assets or replacement or betterment of assets could be paid for out of that reserve.
Now, if we were a taxed organization, what we got out of salvage would reduce the depreciation that we build, correct?
No, sir. The asset, the retired asset would be written off at its cost, and the depreciation on that asset written off, and any difference between the net carrying value and what was received would be recognized as revenue.
Okay.
But it would kind of seem to make a lot more sense if we had a separate account for vehicles. If next year, whenever we want to buy a brand new vehicle, and we're having a public meeting, and we kind of say, look, we're buying this vehicle from, you know, used vehicle sales, it seems a prudent use of our money.
And actually, what I just described about the asset, removing the asset from the books, we have to do that as well, but it's not a taxable event for us.
Well, other than the Batcon trucks, we're back to where we actually fund capital as part of the operating budget, correct?
To some extent, yes.
Okay, it was just, it's a good idea and a good way to go. Bat cave is a kind of a thing that we need to talk about. And we don't need to talk about it today, but the next facilities committee, can we have a concept plan?
Yeah, we'll do that. In fact, we've got some good initial layouts already done, that staff's worked up, that we'll be glad to share and go over the details. Next facilities meeting, Harry,
The drawings will be added to.
drawings, we'll make sure to bring the drawings.
as they're affectionately called.
We had your motion, that's right.
This was just,
I think it's just.
this is a discussion item, I just want to give you all an update on it. I think someone told me to bring some good news, so I thought I'd.
That is good news.
Yep.
Y'all can send me an emoji later, but, that's all right. So the other topic that I wanted to talk about, if that's okay, on the agenda, is, this is specific to fleet, so I wanted to talk about storm preparedness, and specifically fuels and generators. And I just wanted to give you a quick update on some things that we've done and where we're at, and a few things that we still have left to do. One of the things that we have done, that was identified as an issue last year during the storm for fleet, was the amount of fuel and how we would have fuel supply, and also on the post-storm event, what we would do with fuel. So with regard to having enough fuel and being ready, we've entered into a kind of a rental reservation agreement, if you will, to purchase, I believe it's an extra 1,000-gallon tank, or not purchase, I'm sorry, rent for the storm period, that we would have. It would be deployed X amount of hours out. You know, there's a protocol that we would follow, but basically we think, you know, it'll help improve our fuel situation. The additional thing that we've done is J.D. Moore is our local Fuel Pro supplier, and they have 2 locations for fueling center, one mainland and one St. Simons. If you'll recall, last year during the storm, I believe the one on St. Simons was without power for a couple of days, and so that kind of inhibited us with some things. So a backup plan, or a second alternative that we've entered into, is with Lewis and Rollerson out of Waycross. Their brand is the Friendly Express gas stations. So basically, it's a program similar to what we're already doing with Fuel Pro. The brand of it is Fuel Lock, and people will have a card that they can go to any Friendly Express gas station and get fuel. And so not only does that help us in Glynn County, one of the issues we found too is we had employees that were outside of Glynn County, so they have locations out there as well. So people, if they need to get back and forth, we could use that. And it has all the same control mechanisms and tracking as our Fuel Pro that we use as our everyday, but it'll be a secondary option that we can use in the event of a storm. So right now we're testing it with all of our supervisors. So I think we have like probably 2 or 3 cards out in each department. We're going to work out the bugs, and if it's all good, if and when a storm comes, we'll give those out to all the folks that need them during that time. So that's what we try to do to improve our fuel situation.
So they understand it's just gonna be for an emergency.
Yes. But right now, people are using it for every day just to make sure that logistically, you know, there's no hiccups with getting receipts or the PIN numbers or anything like that. So,
What does the county do?
I believe the county has their own fueling, and I think they also use Fuel Pro too.
Well, it would seem to me that if you want fuel during the hurricane, you would actually find a source that has a tank here, so if they lose power, you can get it from an above-ground tank without power. Because if you got hit with a hurricane, most of these Friendly Expresses are not going to be in business.
Thank you. You asked a question and something that I forgot to point out. There, I believe, are 6 of their locations that actually have backup generators. So there is, at their locations, they have backup generation and they could pump as well.
The Friendly Expresses?
Yes. And they're actually constructing a new one, the intersection 303 and 341.
But they have underground tanks, correct?
Yes.
So if we have a storm surge associated with a hurricane, then that might become an issue.
Amen.
Whereas the county and other, I guess, agents who have substantial vehicles have above-ground tanks.
I have no idea what they have.
County has an underground station. Do they? At Public Works.
There's a lot of permitting from what I understand, because we sort of explored this with Ocean Petroleum and also Lewis and Rollerson. We talked to both of them about the possibility of having above ground storage down at Academy Creek so that we would have our own fueling station on site. And the more we got to talking about what it would take to permit that, it wasn't anything really we thought we wanted to pursue from, you know, just being prepared in the event of a storm was going to be kind of cost prohibitive.
Okay.
And also too, you have to maintain that fuel. Not that we would keep it full all the time, but you've got to have a program to get it full, and then after the fact, if you filled it, what are you gonna do with all that fuel? And so that's the other thing, that we talked about is, having a fuel maintenance program. So, it's as simple as having additives and also having a plan that we're gonna fill, for example, at the water stations, we filled all of their tanks to a certain capacity, and then there's a plan that if and when the storm doesn't come, what will we do over the next months to use up that fuel in other places for equipment and things of that nature, so that, we don't have fuel going bad in tanks. And then, when you try to use it, the fuel's not good. So,
That's just a snowball, and your trucks don't work.
yeah, and by no means do I think we've got, everything solved in the way of fuel and every possible scenario that could happen planned for, but I think we're making, some good progress. I think we're in a better state now than we were a year ago with how we're gonna manage fuel in the event the storm comes. Okay, so that's fuel. I got more. Generators. So, I believe back in late spring, we came in and we were talking about moving a generator to this building. We went back and got a few more quotes on that, and we're really close to making a final decision on that. And by the way, thank you very much for prompting us to do that, because it looks like we're probably gonna end up saving some money. There's still a little bit of settling out with the electrical side of it, exactly where that number is going to be. But what we'll have is a combination of Yancey doing kind of the startup work and the testing work. We'll have another company that will probably do the actual relocation of the generator and the initial wiring of it to be ready for the building. So when I know that final number, I'll come back and tell you. But I think it's actually going to be within Mr. Duncan's signature, so we'll probably be getting that done in the next couple of weeks, because they've indicated it'll take about a week and a half to do it once we give them the go-ahead.
Remind me, was this a recycled generator from
It
an
is.
unused lift station?
It is.
Okay.
It is. So it's one we're not using, and we're gonna bring it down here. And then, I'm not a technical person, so forgive me how I say it the wrong way, but we're basically gonna reconfigure it or rewire it to be compatible with the building.
Right.
We already have an ATS out here, because when the building was constructed, there were plans to have a generator, and it just never got put back there for whatever reasons, and I can't tell you what those are. So the idea was, let's use something that we have, repurpose it, and make it fit here. So that should be happening, I would say, probably by the next time we have a facilities meeting, that whole project will be complete. And then the other option that we're looking at, we have 6 portable generators that we deploy to various lift stations and water stations last year during the storm. We've got all of those operational, good fuel, and they're being checked on a regular basis, so that part of the fleet is ready to serve when we need it. The other option that we're looking at, we had Kirk and his team give us a listing of additional lift stations that are critical. So I think the number that we want to start with is probably 5. We'll enter into some type of a rental reservation program for the storm season, and if we need those, we'll have those available to us. There's also kind of mutual aid or affiliations with other agencies where we borrowed last year, some from Augusta, and I actually think, that's a good thing too, to have an addition, but those are never for sure or certain, because depending on how a storm may or may not turn, they may need them themselves. So those are kind of like our final tier of extra that we would have. And one of the questions that got asked, well, why wouldn't you just buy 5 more generators? Well, that'd be 5 more service agreements, 5 more fuels, all of that. So we want to try the let's rent it and see about the need approach. And if it over time says we need to buy them, then we would come back about that. But probably this season, we're just going to get into a rental reservation program for generators. And I think that's all I have to say about fleet preparedness. But I do feel like, truthfully, we are in a better position, and we've thought through a lot of things this year that, it probably doesn't come together as quick as you would think it would, but I think we're in a better spot than we were this time last year. Any questions?
I got one for John. Since we're on the storm restoration, when Matthew came through, how much money have we gotten back from FEMA?
I don't have that number right
I
off
mean,
the top of my head.
are we still pursuing it to get it?
I think there's still one payment outstanding, that's for, I think, around $28,000-$30,000.
let us know at the next meeting. I'd like to know on that one, so.
Let's see.
I believe it's a little over 300,000, so far.
Okay.
R&R Capital Project, Mr. Patel.
Thank you, Chairman, Director, and Executive Director. This is the capital project updates that we presented last week in the full commission meeting. I'll just go over with a few updates that we have since last week, and if you could have questions. Project 232, that's the State Route 99 Water Main Extension Project. This is contractor Seaboard Construction Company. At this moment, we are working with DOT and the contractor to revise the set of plans for the installation along Highway 341. I have drafted up the revisions and produced them to Seaboard for review and comments, and once we receive them back, we will be forwarding that to the DOT for approval on those revisions. We have gone from, in few sections, we have gone from an open cut method to horizontal directional drill, in hope that Seaboard would approve these rather than having it open cut and being so close to the road as they're concerned with. Urbana Sanitary Sewer System, this is Washington County Machine Shop is the contractor for this project. The project is pretty much complete. The contractor is just completing 2 or 3 punch list items that we have presented to them, and then once we receive record drawings and review them, the project will be complete. Mansfield Street, this is a city project that we have an MOU with. J. Storm Construction is the contractor. At this point, he's still working on storm drain improvements, and is currently at the intersection of Richmond and Newcastle. The installation of curbing is going on along the Baptist Church.
Make sure I understand. Is all of our work under this contract completed?
The sewer, yes, sewer is, yes, and water is too as well.
So right now, it's just the city's work.
The city's storm and then the road improvements, correct.
They got to do some grout work or something, don't they?
Yeah, just like the fountain, like raising and lowering of manholes, once the paving is complete, that'll be in the punch list once the paving is complete, correct?
Well, if we have these, you know, if we have this updated in the next meeting or something, we kind of need to tell people that very dominantly, you know what, this is a city problem, right? And stop keeping Joint Water's name associated with it.
Well, I agree with you, and I think our public information officer who participates in selling our story, or I don't know whether it's selling or telling, our story on social media, needs to put that in social media. You know, don't talk to us about Mansfield anymore. That's a city problem. And they all start off, that JWSC still working in Mansfield.
Canal crossing, water enforcement improvements. East Coast Asphalt is the contractor for this project. This is a Glynn County project. We have an MOU with Glynn County on this one. Project is pretty much complete, but we're just waiting on final punch list items to be completed and record drawings submitted to us for review. Canal crossing pump station, this is a JWSC project. Richardson Construction Company is the contractor for this project. Project is complete, the station is online. While we're waiting for the contractors, the submission of record drawings prior review.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure you got that.
Pump station 2032, TB Landmark is the contractor for this project. The project is complete. The startup event was held on July 21st. All the punch list items have been completed as well, and we're just waiting on record drawings for our review. The engineer of record has already got the record drawings from the contractor. They're reviewing them before we receive them.
I thought it was surprising, the lady stopped me today and wanted to know whether we started allowing taps on 2032.
Pump station 4048, this is a brand new upcoming project. Once again, TB Landmark is the contractor for this project. We did have a public meeting on August 3rd at the high school. We had a few attendees over there. This is the initial component for the North Mainland capacity issues, and it will coordinate with this plus phase 1 project as well. The project completion time is 120 days, and we hope to have this project completed by December.
Is all the pipe showing up? Is the pipe arrived?
For the most part, there's also fittings that are around. The fittings, I believe, they've taken them to Academy Creek for the laydown yard there. Yes.
This is the 30%.
Capital projects that are still in engineering design phase. Project 501, which is the Alder Circle water main water line installation project. This was a SPLOST funded project as well. We had put it out to bid, but there's a discrepancy in the line item for the paving, so we pulled the bid back, and we're waiting on the county to reevaluate and put this back for bids again. Project 602, Holly Street Sanitary Sewer Project. Engineering design is complete. We're just waiting to put the project for bid. This is the county, we'll go through the county as well. Project 702, the North Mainland Sewer Basin Reroute. This is the SPLOST project, which is divided into 4 phases. Phase 1, as mentioned before, we will have a 30% design in a week. Next Thursday.
Commission meeting, we'll have a presentation of that.
Constantine Engineering is the awarded contractor for this project. Phase 2, the 20-inch force main from Canal Road to bypass station 4036. The engineering is already, pre-design's already in the works. Surveying and all that's complete as well. So we're just, once phase 1 is, we've got the phase 1 30% preliminary out, and we'll be getting ready to get the preliminary done on this one. Phase 3, 20-inch force main from pump station 4110 to Canal Road. Surveying is underway. We just have to get with the county to determine which way the widening is going to happen, so we make sure that is known in the engineering phase for this project. Phase 4, force main reroute from pump station 4039 to 4109 Canal Road. That's the same thing. Once we have a better idea of how the widening is going to take place around that area, we'll be engineering this one.
Is it just phase 4 that's waiting on that, the county project widening? Or is phase 3 also
It'll
affected?
be phase 3 and
3 and 4?
4. Yes.
Okay.
We're waiting for what?
The county's widening Harry Graders, and we need to know for sure which side of the roads
Where they going to?
so we can route ours.
Okay. Okay. I mean, looking at the projects up there, the county's not too well at doing things timely.
We've let them know, they've already been
Well, I
informed.
mean, the county commission has got us on a clock on our SPLOS.
I understand, and we've been in contact with the county to let them know, you're our holdup.
Well,
I don't think I'd be willing to bet that they're not gonna do that for years.
And it doesn't
I'll
matter.
take that, I'll
We
say,
just need to know the right.
I'm a millennial.
I don't dispute what you're saying, but if we're gonna do the project,
We got it.
they gotta decide when they do it, where they're gonna do it, so that we can
Well,
decide.
this needs to be addressed at the next commission.
Okay.
Because we need Commissioner Brown to kind of,
Is there any way we can do that work without having to coordinate with the county?
I think so.
I mean, we can, but it'd be rolling the dice.
Well, isn't
They would have to move it at the time when they decide.
That's the problem.
That would look
We
good.
couldn't like bore it underneath and just get so far away from them that we don't have to worry about it?
I think the major concern would be right there where Boondoggies is, that intersection right there, which way the widening is gonna happen.
But you're also gonna have, because it's a board project, everywhere where the pieces come together, you're gonna hear air relief valves, and those are gonna be sitting out in the middle of the road possibly, and that wouldn't work out too well.
Project 703, pump station 4003 decommissioning and gravity sewer upgrades. This project will include, obviously, the decommissioning of the station and taking the gravity all the way to the plant. It'll help out with repumping. The preliminary engineering is in progress, and hopefully in another week or two we should hear regarding the scope and the project specifications for this one. Project 704, Canal Road to Glencoe Parkway, the water main loop. Engineering is going to be, preliminary engineering is going to be done in-house. We've already installed the water main across the canal, so that's already complete. And then once we make the loop, it'll have a loop outside Flexen for this project. Because right now there's only a single feed that's feeding the airport and Flexen.
Let me ask you, go back to that Canal Road one. Don't we know how the widening is going? Because aren't they actually working on the bridge as we speak?
Yes.
There is work going on. That bridge is, not on, is that Canal Road that goes?
The bridge is on Glencoe Parkway.
Glencoe Parkway,
Correct.
that's different.
Yeah, but isn't that gonna be going down past that intersection that you were talking about?
Yes, it
It
is.
will.
And
But
that almost, I think that almost drives the side of the road that they're gonna widen.
That's what I
to
was.
go to that side,
The question comes up on Canal Road, when you know where the storage buildings are, is right past Sam's and all that, that's where the question is, on which side, are they gonna be on the right side of that road or the west side, or the left side? Because right now we just
We
have.
should be able to get a question on Paul Andrews.
Well-
It has been mentioned to him.
it's been, yeah, it's been brought up.
Well, I think he should have a good idea by now, because they should be well into the right-of-way acquisition phase of it. He should have that answer. It's just a matter of maybe Commissioner Brown should be able to get that answer. It's there. I guarantee you that sitting in their plans, that answer is there.
Project 705, Cartology Board, just a 12-inch water main loop. Engineering design is complete. The project estimates about $110,000. We're trying to work with water distribution to see if they want to tackle this job in-house or source it out together.
Well, does he have the slack timing screws to do it?
That is the question that has been raised to him as well. Like it's not a long section, and this will be another point of connection which will loop the old city and the county systems together. It is a vital component of connecting these two systems right here as well.
Let me, that's not that much, is it?
No, sir. Yes, yeah, with this modeling's also been going on to see if pressure reducing valves will help out level the system as well. We do have one more update to give. They'll touch base with it as well. We are working with the county to present maps, trying to get a better understanding of how many people are actually connected to our sewer and water, or only sewer only accounts, and working with the county and seeing how many COs have been released and stuff like that. We're trying to tackle it basin by basin, so we have a better understanding of within a basin how many lots are served by the station and the capabilities of the station before upgrades are needed and stuff like that. I would like Dana to touch base with it as well.
I'll come to this side, see if we have a point to talk. So what we're doing, like Harry said, is we're going to each parcel. We made a copy of the county's tax parcels, and then we're using different fields we're putting in here, whether they're a water customer, a sewer customer, water and sewer customer, if it's a vacant lot, how many REUs they're using, and if it's a commercial or residential property. And then with that, we can, if another 2032 scenario comes up, we're not rushing at the last minute to give you guys some sort of answers. We're going to have this stuff in there ready to go. this isn't gonna fix everything. Like I said, we're using the parcels, and then, like even if you look right here at this 100, this is one huge parcel. So the airport area on the island, all that's one big parcel with several, probably, 20, 30 businesses. So that's gonna be a problem area for us. Just, giving a hard number and a visualization for you guys, because there might be there's gonna be a mix with RU counts with different businesses. Unlike these properties right here, we know that they're gonna be one, and it's just easier to show in a subdivision. But in this, we'll be able to tell off the bat how many parcels pump to, or how many parcels discharge to a lift station. All those numbers are gonna be filled in the system. And we'll be a lot more proactive in what we're doing.
You didn't say what the yellow and the blue and
The yellow ones are, right now, there are lots that have no account with us, and we're working with the county. They realized, I guess, that they needed to keep a better track of how they were doing some things as far as their building permits.
Correct, because the issue we mentioned to them was, obviously, we need that data from the county GIS department, where we need to know exactly how many vacant lots you all have, And the issue that was raised was, they turn a vacant lot off, when a building permit is an issue. But if somebody can go apply for a building permit and then they turn a physical address on, that doesn't mean they're gonna build. So you could have somebody that had pulled in a building permit and never built the home, but now it's not registered as a vacant lot, So I think they're going back to where they'll look for COs that have been released, which is a guarantee that somebody's in the home at that point. So that'll give us better data to model these maps that way. Instead of just a building permit being pulled off and then the lot going from vacant to not vacant.
And then I pulled Lee from the county GIS. I took the information she gave us and overlaid it with our yellows, and they all matched except for one. So that's just for this basin, so that was great. And if you look here, you see that there's two blues, which symbolize water-only accounts. So that threw up a red flag. So we went and looked, and I talked to John, and we looked, and we knew we have a work order system. Once they file for a clean-out inspection, and we go and verify it, and if it's good, then we issue a CO. And that's what happened in this case. They haven't, signed off on the CO.
Correct.
So our process that we have in planning construction is working, and that shows right here on the map.
And with this basin, this is basin 2029. It's a small basin, but there's capacity issues with this station. So I know staff was tasked to determine, hey, are the drawdown numbers jiving with what this basin is serving? And it pretty much lined up 100% accurate to what we have on drawdown, to what the customer base is for this basin, this station.
So the pink is water and sewer?
Yes, sir.
And the yellow was what again?
Vacant lots.
No houses built?
No account. There's nothing there for us right now. There's potential, but right now there's nothing there. There's no accounting in our billing program.
So like for this basin itself, we have to account for all the full build out, so that'd be 181 lots. And that's how we determine if the station can handle this, or will it need an upgrade in the future, or what.
So your REU count on this particular basin is what?
180-ish, because that's
180.
181, yes.
So that tells us how big the pump at the pump station needs to be.
Correct.
And it should tell us how much pressure.
Correct.
The other thing because we have this problem that occurred over in Shadowwood, is this a fully looped water distribution system?
I'm not sure, because I'd like to say yes, but that's not what, that we're trying to do.
With that, is what you're telling me?
Yes, sir. This is just for visualizing customers,
Okay.
what they're being charged,
Yeah.
and sewer
It
stuff.
may not be appropriate for this map, but we need to start really looking at fully looped systems. Because I didn't realize the problems that we have when we don't loop them. you know.
Yeah, so that's like this one where we did the study, I think, for
Well,
181.
it's like, you have all those cul-de-sacs, and those are not looped, generally speaking, right?
So it'd be, yeah, you, like you say, you'd be a dead end line just going to the end, correct?
It can be.
It could be, I mean, I don't know how you, I guess you could do a U, would that constitute looping it?
Sometimes.
I don't know.
They look too.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that we don't, that we need to make sure that when a developer puts in a system, that we require it to be fully looped within the neighborhood, so we don't have any dead water issues. I may not be saying it
I understand.
in the right,
Yeah, your concern is like here, right here, where the line might just stop if we don't have an easement crossing over, correct?
that's all I got.
So this is just to start with the basin, we'll eventually do the whole island and move on to the main.
Which basin is that?
2029, this is the one that was brought up in the Tuesday.
Yeah, that we were talking about.
Correct.
Do we, I'm just curious, did we talk about, I saw we were talking about the, I know this is a little bit off the subject, but did we find out if we could stick a new pump in there, or we?
From the calculations we got, so it's 180 parcels out there. I came up with 150 GPM is what, at 300 gallons per day is what they would put out. The pumps are rated for 98 GPM, so you're minus 50 in the hole. So, and I know there was mentions about possibly increasing the velocity. The 4-inch force main currently just pumps at 2 foot per second, so you can ramp up the velocity and push through. We just have to get to that 150 GPM threshold with the pumps. Because there's enough velocity, at 150 GPM, I think it was 3.7 feet per second. So the force main is able to handle that velocity. It's just whether it needs the pumps, I don't know if they're maxed out on the impellers or, I'm not sure.
I just wonder, yeah, there may be some questions about what it would take to upgrade it.
We need to get somebody to call Jowers
Jowers Plumbing.
Plumbing, because
K Jewelers.
K Jewelers, they're
They
having
got
a
major
problem.
problem, and he said he needs an ASAP water shutdown. So I don't know. what-
Jowers,
Jowers Plumbing.
is there, did they give you a number?
No, but I can give you a number.
Have it?
This is the ground. Should I say that?
Sound-
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
They just need the water.
He needs the water shut off, yeah.
Yeah.
You sending a message, John?
Yeah, he sent me a message. I'll give it to you just a second. Where's K Jewelers on,
Target, the
Yeah,
Target
good.
shopping center.
266-3003. That's his cell number. Because he said he can't get through to anybody else.
Derek, hold on. Tell him where he needs to go.
Where is it he needs to go?
K
Jewelers.
Jewelers. K Jewelers.
Target,
K. Are they on North Street?
No, they're in
The
the
Target
Target
shop.
shop.
Oh, Target shop is the Target,
Park
okay.
where the Wheat Hut used to be.
Yep.
K Jewelers over at the.
Target.
Warehouse Plaza, Target.
Me call him and let him know.
They've got some kind of water problem.
oh yeah, I mean, it's fine, man.
I can call, okay, I'll try Bobby too. Okay, thanks. Hey Bobby, it's John. The K Jewelers over in the Glynn Plaza has some kind of water problem, and you just shut off. Pardon? The K Jewelers in the Target Plaza needs their water shut off right away. They've got a problem. Commissioner Adams. Yeah. Listen, yeah, it's over in the Target Plaza. Yeah, we've called Derek too, so they may get there, but I guess it's, their water's burning everywhere.
Whoever gets there first gets to stay on.
Thanks. Okay. man meter folks on the way.
Okay. I guess we'll wait till the chairman gets back. Okay. I talked to Chairman, we really ought to have this meeting the first Thursday, the Thursday before the first meeting. Do you see that as a problem? Robert?
A lot of my problems went away last Friday was the divorce.
So did you have a partner?
I'm still not divorced. I just went, well, that was the last day of court.
Oh,
Another 6 weeks and we get a judge.
okay. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay.
We can give you that number on
That's gonna be only,
FEMA.
Oh, you got them, oh, I thought you was gonna give me a number. That plumber just chewed me out, said he couldn't get, he couldn't get a live person for over 20 minutes, he said they worked at it. So I got a question too while we're on this situation now.
Okay.
He asked about this plumber asked about a key for these SIG meters that he needs to get into. Because he doesn't know if the meter is the one flooded the store or what. What kind of key is it that they have these things locked up with that they can't get to?
Shouldn't be. If they're standard stop, curb stop, it's just.
He
I
said,
mean, I
he
don't
said,
know
he said
what-
the plumber doesn't have a key.
The ones gosh, I don't know what they got in the way of meter, but the residential meters I'm used to.
Well, now this is going, I mean, you're talking about a tool that actually turns the
Yeah,
key,
but
that's a
I was
key.
about to say.
But he said it's locked, he said
Residential
the meter, these meters are actually locked.
Some meter boxes do have locking lids on them, and the meter guys do have keys for that.
Right.
But they shouldn't have to get in, there should be a cutoff else, a
I
customer
don't
shut
I don't
off
think he can
outside
find
the
it, that's
meter
what I'm saying,
box.
yeah, I don't think he can find it, that's why he said if he could get into that meter, he could turn off the water.
Oh, you can't get into the box at all.
Right.
Yeah, some of the boxes are, at one time, they were putting lockable lids in just so. that
Yeah,
people
and I think that was when the county was doing it. That is something that, I mean, the plumber's hands are tied, like I said, he called, and that's why he was getting all over me, he said he couldn't get anybody to answer the phone down here. Other
You
than
call
busting
that
it,
line out there again?
261-7100 or 71.
Yes,
Whatever.
I've had that problem before too. It's
I've
sometimes you
heard,
call in and you
I
can't.
hear about that all.
I mean, it just rolls and nobody answers.
There's work afoot to get that, get some
We're
help.
working on a fix for that,
Okay.
in several directions.
Yeah, going back to your other thing, isn't the human resources on the first Thursday?
Yeah, but, no, it's on the first Thursday of the meeting. I'm saying that this one will be the Thursday of the week prior to the first meeting.
No, Thursday anytime's good, that's fine.
Yeah, I just don't want to, if you have a scheduling line.
Any questions?
Thank you.
What was your presentation again?
It's gonna work, but I mean, what they're showing is really.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry.
What you
It's
said.
business, it's business, that's what we
Yeah.
get paid for.
And the FEMA, we're going to, once the requests have all been approved, we're waiting for all the cash to come in, but we'll ultimately get $363,917.
Okay, and how will
Say
that?
that number again?
How would that be placed back?
360.
Well, it should be a reduction of our expenses.
Yes.
from last year.
It'll offset, it'll be a reimbursement coming in that will go to offset.
Did you recognize it when you closed out?
Last year.
We can book that as a receivable, yeah.
You booked it as a receivable already?
We will be. We're still.
Okay, so when you book it, then that means there's more money to go into the reserve accounts?
Potentially, yes.
Oh, why are you hedging on me?
If we overspend
We're
our
still-
budget, then those extra revenues would be offset by what we might
Well,
We're
spend.
still holding the books open for, we're still.
Yeah,
getting
I knew you
invoices
were.
to bring in. So until
but
the,
you would put more money into the reserve account.
yeah, I haven't relooked at the numbers from June. That's actually what I was working on this afternoon, is to pull those up and pull that report out again to see where we are, because at the year end, we have to pull the books open for all of the invoices
Oh,
dated
okay,
June.
okay.
So we have to backdate all of those to June and report them then.
I'm looking at 30 manholes.
Pardon? I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
that part's
I got
not
you.
here.
10,000
Part
now.
Oh, that's right.
I got you, okay, we know where you're going with that one.
I'm sorry.
Well, good. Executive director update, you already,
No changes for today.
anybody got anything else?
One other thing is, we had our initial meeting with Harris Computer on implementation of the capital projects planning module, which is actually included within the financials that we have. And that was our first implementation meeting was originally scheduled for tomorrow at 1 o'clock, but there's, something came up, so their first meeting will be 9 o'clock Monday morning. And we'll have representatives, we'll have the purchasing folks, a couple of, the two people, Harry and Todd from planning and construction, and then 3 people from finance, all working at that to get that module implemented, or up and running and working within our financials, which hopefully will give a lot more information on the projects and have it in more real time. And then the second part of that is the contract management, which isn't finished as yet, and that's supposed to be released towards the end of the year, very early in January of next year. And you may recall that we are participating in a software development group with Harris and helping them, having input into the design of the software. So we're getting started on the first piece of that coming next week.
I don't know anything else.
On the date for the next meeting, are you going to make that change on the?
Yeah, I'll get with you.